I love him to death. I was with him on the day that he'd passed. Me and Ben Jackson were there with Midnight.
Your home for melodic heavy metal. This is the Signals of Intuition.
I push forward with every breath I take. This journey is my greatest game.
There's brand new Chalice of Sin right there with Great Escape from their new self-titled record. You're listening to the Signals of Intuition, your home for melodic hard rock and heavy metal. And tonight on the show, we've got the singer of that band, Mr. Wade Black. Wade, you might know as the former singer of Leatherwolf and Crimson Glory. He has also sung for Leash Law with Richard Christie from Howard Stern's show, in addition to a number of other bands through the years that we're going to be talking about. So let's get Wade on the line right now.
Hello.
Hey, Wade, how's it going? It's Brandon calling from the Signals of Intuition.
What's going on? How you doing, Brandon? Where are you calling from, brother?
I'm doing all right. I am calling from Windsor, Ontario, Canada, right next to Detroit.
Nice, eh? Nice. Take off, loser, to the Great White North.
Oh, exactly.
Nice. I had toured with Annihilator, that are Canadian. They're probably the biggest Canadian metal band. They were there, and I toured with him for it, and I teased him the whole entire time, man. It was awesome.
That's hilarious. Was that when, because I know you and Joe sang on a record together, right? Was that Seven Witches?
Yeah. Well, Joe Camo and I sang on See You in Hell, the Grim Reaper song.
Oh, that's right. That's what that was. I'm like, I could swear.
And Joe was actually the singer for Annihilator that tour. I'm looking at him, and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's amazing, this and that, and da-da-da-da. No, we had Liege Lord and every other thing, going on at that time. But that's like 15 years ago, brother. There were weird stories that I had heard about him too, because I was like, he invited me on the bus, and I was like, yeah, I don't like to be disturbed. Once my curtains are closed, don't stick your hand in there because I'll chew it off. That's my space. I heard something about him crawling up and down the rails of the hallway of the upstairs bus naked. I actually think I had witnessed naked soccer with them one morning. I was like, what is going on with these guys?
With Annihilator?
Yeah, Jeff. We toured with them for almost 7 weeks. Everywhere. Yeah. I was like, it was probably just a story, but it was just a funny story, of whether it ever happened, or maybe it just happened for a second and it just got blown up into something else. But Jeff's the creator of the riffs, so
yeah, that's hilarious. I mean, I've met him and chatted with him at Music Messe in Germany a couple of years ago. But what you speak to someone for 5 minutes is totally not, what they could be like in their private life.
Correct. Well, hanging out with him, and his personality is so cool because he doesn't do a lot of meet and greets and this and that. So it was funny because I would go down and the fans would be, oh, I want this signed by Jeff. I want this signed by, and I bring it upstairs. And he was like, what's this? And I was like, just sign it. It's for a fan. And he signs it. And then I come up like 3 or 4 more times. And he was like, stop coming up here. And I was like, these people, they want you to sign stuff. They love you. You have to sign it. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. It's love, man. It's what you give. It's what we are, and these people love you, and you're going to sign this. So Jeff's absolutely amazing. But anyways, carry on. I don't mean to ramble.
No, all cool. That's the whole point of this interview, right? Is stories like this. That's the stuff that I love to hear. So when I do these, I like to start at the beginning of you as a musician and then work our way up to the new record.
That's fine.
So starting from the beginning, where did you grow up and how did you get started in music?
Well, I grew up in Newcastle, Pennsylvania originally. It was kind of weird because I always sang to the radio. I always listened to like really kind of older kind of stuff, kind of like Cat Stevens, Mac Davis, when I was younger. Noticed that I could sing, so it was funny. I think it was maybe like 3rd or 4th grade. I went to chorus and I ended up getting in and started singing and so on and so forth. I think I ended up staying in singing lessons and stuff all the way up until maybe like 7th or 8th grade in high school. And it just progressed from there. Just a love for the art, a love for singing, and just progressed from there.
Yeah, and then so you sang at that point. Now, did you pick up an instrument as well, besides singing?
No, I've torn the strings off of so many guitars that, you could build a bonfire out of them. I'm no good with instruments and stuff. After a while, you kind of figure out what you're meant to do within my lifetime. I was born to sing. So that's what I've done, and that's what I've continued to do.
Oh, that's awesome. So how do you go from these lessons and how do you start getting into bands and, that kind of thing? Like the first thing I'm aware of you doing is Lucian Black, but I take it, do you have other things in between that point?
No, Lucian Black was pretty much my first band that I was in. It was funny because I got hired because I had a PA. I always loved to sing. I always wanted to sing. And once I got in there and I got the feel for it, what it was singing through the PA, it just moved forward from there. It just grew and grew every year to where I started taking lessons. I started taking opera lessons. I took all kind of crazy stuff. Jim Gillette from Nitro is a big influence on my kind of vocals, or Rob Halford and the higher register singers. But it's just all in what you love. You're influenced by different music as you grow up. I love all kind of stuff. I love Foreigner. I love 38 Special. I love Leonard Skinner. I love all kind of music, man. If it's good and it pleases you, then listen to it and enjoy it.
Yeah, very true. No, it's funny. I was digging up Judgment Insanity for this interview, and it's funny because I discovered that song years ago on Napster. And for years, like, I didn't know you were in at the time, you'd probably, I think, just joined Crimson Glory, or I think the album had just come out. But it's so funny, I haven't heard that song in like 20 years, and I dug it up and I was like, oh my God, I remember the stuff from back in the day, and just one of those obscure things that you download, so I think that was very cool to stumble on that.
Isn't that funny? I was maybe 19, 20 years old at that particular point that I really got into it and stuff, and it just grew and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. The musicianship and stuff that we were building on, you're only as good as your experiences, you know what I'm saying? So as we grew and as we wrote music together and hung out together and stuff, we grew as a family, and it just made the music better in the end. I do want to make a fact that Lucian Black has been featured on 3 different motion pictures that are huge. If you've ever seen The Gray with Liam Neeson.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen that one.
Right. So anyways, I'm singing on the jukebox in this movie, the first bar fight.
Oh, that's hilarious.
This movie was #1 in the box office for I don't know how long. There's another movie that Lucian Black is actually featured in called Dante's Echo with Danny Glover.
Oh, okay.
So I'm singing on the jam box in the body shop when the guy gets hacked in the head with the hammer.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I've got a friend of mine in Greece calling me, and he's freaking out. He's like, oh my God, you're in a movie. I just heard you, this and that. My wife and I went out and rented the movie and stuff, and we're watching it, and we're like, holy shit. There it is, So it's funny of how things end up structuring your career. This is stuff that happened 30 years ago, and it's just like, holy shit, time just flies, and I close my eyes and 20 years have passed over my head. But it's the beginning stages of what you do and how you develop and how you learn your craft that makes you that full artist. Now I'm 50 plus years old. I've been doing this and singing and playing in bands for the last 30 years plus. So now I enjoy kind of like a calmness within my creation of what I do now. It's so heartfelt. It's so feeling. And that's what I want to portray in this. Not only do we want to write a song, but we want to portray this. We want to catch you with the chorus. We want to entrance you. We want you to listen to that whole song, and we want you to hum it after you go away.
Yeah, very true. Just back on the Lucian thing for just a second. I'm kind of curious about, your connection and how much you worked with Jim Morris. Like, I think the original singer for that band was Todd Plant, wasn't it? He's done a million things with Jim.
Correct. Yeah. Absolutely correct. Every time that he has, I think it's Wicked Mariah that always goes there. And also, he was the key harmony singer. I think when Iced Earth went in with Ripper, Todd, my friend, was in there and actually helped him with harmonies and stuff, and just really made it a whole. Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's such a small world.
That's hilarious. I interviewed not that long ago Falco from Wicked Mariah, so very funny that you dropped their name.
Funny. So he told you too, also, that Todd Plant is the go-to guy.
Yes.
Here in Tampa Bay. So Todd Plant will be coming and singing on my next band that I have, War of Thrones. So he'll be doing some work with us here soon, man, to keep him in the mix. He is absolutely lovely gentleman. He is so gracious. He is so talented that it's just incredibly stupid. So no wonder he's in such demand.
Yeah, and it's funny, it's a voice I've probably heard thousands of times. Well, maybe not that much, but you know what I mean? You hear so often, but I've never known it.
But you've never known that he sang on that song. Right. When I work with Jim and Tom, both of those guys, and thank God for those fine gentlemen and the love that I have for them, and More Sound and everything, and Tampa Bay. This place used to be the metal capital of the world, but we're bringing it back again. This is still the metal capital of the world. I heard that Paul O'Neill, before he passed, God bless him, that he had ended up buying More Sound for TSO and Sabotage.
Yes. Now, what's funny is I interviewed Zach Stevens, who talked about exactly that. who said,
one of my very good friends. And shout out to you, Zach. I love you with all my heart, brother.
Yeah, it's funny you kind of mentioned that whole connection, because I was thinking about this earlier. How many people in the last probably 2-3 years that I've interviewed from Florida, and specifically around Tampa, like the whole Crimson Glory thing, which I want to talk about in a second. But Todd, I just interviewed Todd LaTorre.
Isn't that funny?
And again,
I love Todd, and we'll get to that in a second.
Also, I don't know if he's I don't know where he's from in Florida, but Jason Beeler I just talked to from Saigon Kick. I think
nice.
Are they Tampa?
I talk back and forth to Matt Kramer all the time.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, man. That's insane.
That's crazy. Yeah, what a great connection. It's funny, there's all these little pockets throughout the U.S. that have these amazing scenes, and it's until you really think about it, in the late 80s, New Jersey was one of the crazy ones,
right.
Or there was a great one in Minneapolis. 15 years ago, there was Houston, was an amazing scene for power metal, prog metal, all that stuff. Incredible, that you just don't think about it and you go, oh my God, all these bands are from this area. How did this happen?
Isn't that crazy? You're making my arms, my hair on my arms stand up, man. It's crazy. Just the history of it, just in general. But I mean, for me to be, involved with Crimson Glory, with Leatherwolf, with Seven Witches, and everything else, I'm just so blessed to be here. So, and that's just the way that I feel. That's honest,
Yeah, no, I hear you. So I guess on that note, let's talk the Crimson Glory story. How do you get the call? I mean, for me, I was thinking about it yesterday, and I'm like, okay, well, obviously the connection from where you live, but also the sound of Lucian Black, I mean, to me is kind of sort of Crimson Glory, definitely not a clone, but
that's exactly, and it's so funny that you say that, because we had played a Battle of the Bands with another band, I think it was called Crush, that John and those guys were in.
Yeah, yep.
And John had saw me sing one night. This was 20 plus years ago. Well, this is actually probably a little bit longer than that. And he told Jeff, he goes, this is going to be the singer for Crimson Glory. So time had passed and passed and passed. And then I get a call one day from John. He goes, "This is John Drenning from Crimson Glory. We want to come down and audition you." And I think I actually hung up on him the first time. And it was funny. And he called me back again. It was for real. And I had always been a fan of Crimson Glory. Midnight and I had taken the same vocal lessons from Al Cohen. So, it was just funny how that actually went. But I actually went and drove over to Tampa and sang a song, just one verse and one chorus of one song. And the next weekend after that, I was in Sarasota recording the demos of what they were trying to shop to get a new deal. That particular time, I think they had asked Midnight, and they were in talkings and negotiations with him. But in the end, he just wasn't doing well physically and mentally. He just wasn't all there to create the magic. I love him to death. I was with him on the day that he'd passed. Me and Ben Jackson were there with Midnight. Ben actually sang him a song, and it was quite moving because, you know, you knew that he was going to pass. I remember seeing, you know, his eyes just tear up, and I was just like, oh my God, you know, I love this guy, and he's, you know, he's going to the other side, man, and it was just brutal. But, you know, the love for that band will always last because it was such a classic sound, you know. So they were compared to Queensryche and this and that. I actually think, you know, it was a fair comparison to the two. But, you know, in the end, it still stands the test of time, and people will listen to that band forever.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, you listen to that album too. It's, you know, they had that third album that
What's
had.
this strange? It's Strange and Beautiful. Midnight was a huge Robert Plant fan. He loves Zeppelin. He's not really like a heavy metal singer, but he made himself become that. He loves rock. He loves Zeppelin. So that's why that record sounds like that. But if you really dig into it, though, and you really listen to it deeply, listen to the chant, listen to Star Chamber, listen to all of those songs that are on that record. It's still Crimson Glory. And this is something that if you don't play an instrument and you're just a guy out there asking questions, it's kind of hard to tell you what we really feel, you know, and it kind of gets twisted in a way. But, I mean, what a beautiful talent.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's funny you mentioning the Robert Plant thing, and my brain is just running circles, like running through his vocals, you know, what I've seen of him sing, and I'm like, there it is. It's totally his mystique thrown on top of Robert Plant.
Absolutely. But that's his own personal spin on it. You know, he threw his magic on it, and he made Crimson Glory the mystique and what he brought to that band. So what? And I'll say it, I don't care. So what if the rest of the band wrote that music or whatever? That was Midnight to put that band over the top. And he was mesmerizing, and he was on fire. And that's what made that band popular. So as a whole, yes, Midnight, the complete star, period.
Yep. Oh, exactly. I mean, it's, you know, Queensryche, same story. Skid Row, same story. Yeah, the songs are there. Yep. But you know what? You know, that X factor, it's like, it's, again, Midnight.
That's right. That's right. You could put the best people in the world together in a room. You can't guarantee that they're going to write hits and they're going to write music and stuff. I mean, it's a crapshoot. You know, it all depends on your experience. You're only as good as your experience, and that's what's going to depend on what you end up turning in for homework.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So you guys do the demos for Astronomica, and then after the demos, obviously, you're brought into the fold. You guys, did you do any of that at More Sound, or was that all, like, did John have his own studio? Because I know he, like, produced and I think mixed it, right?
Now, everything was done downstairs in the apartment that I lived in for a year over on Anna Maria Island. He brought that in. He had, I think, the producer from Cinderella. I can't remember his name. There were so many people coming out of there. But, I mean, it's kind of crazy how it ended up going about, because I had read some emails on his computer that said that they wouldn't sign the band without Midnight. So it took him quite a while, you know, like another year before we recorded the record, before he got somebody to really bite on it. This is, to a lot of people, the unobtainable spot. You know, nobody can come in and take this spot. And for me, coming in, I could really love and appreciate what he had done as a vocalist and a singer, and the feeling that he put in to it. But for me, I'm more of a harder edge singer. I'm power vocalist. I'll sing you the most beautiful song in the world that you've ever heard. It'll make you cry. And then I can come back again and just rip your face off.
Yeah.
You know, it's different. You know, you just switch into gears and stuff. So crazy how that stuff ends up working out.
Oh, for sure. Speaking, I know we talked about Todd LaTorre a little while ago. You know, I saw both of you guys sing at Prague Power in the Tribute to Midnight show.
Yep.
How was it reuniting with those guys after almost 10 years? I think you guys like attempted a reunion a couple years before that or something. Or tell me kind of the story.
Well, it was we had went out to Barfest. We had done that up there with John Oliva. We had come back, and I think that I had actually missed a practice one time, and a buddy of mine had brought Todd down to practice. And it was funny because this is like the stars were all aligned and shit was weird. I had been in the band for a long time, but after he had come down and he started singing and stuff, you know, John had heard him, and then he sang some of the old Crimson Glory stuff exactly like Midnight. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, that's awesome to actually mimic that and to get the feeling out with that and those songs and stuff. I think that in the end, you know, a lot of people thought that I wasn't right for that band. I honestly brought my heartfelt emotions, you know, and I really feel that Crimson Glory record is a trademark record. You know, they went along with Todd. You know, I went on to go on ahead and do a couple other things and stuff. And then the Queensryche thing come up for him. And I, you know, honestly thought and felt in my heart that I really said, you know, I'm really glad that he got that gig. And I'm really super proud of him that he's able to do that and be in that band for what, the last 8-9 years, for crying out loud. I don't know whether it's been that long, but I mean, it's been such a long time. He's such a sweet soul. This guy, you know, I was sitting in Applebee's one day, and the waitress comes over to me and she goes, the gentleman around the corner bought your meal for you. And I was like, bought my meal? So I walk around the corner and it's Todd. He paid for me because he saw me when he went to the bathroom. I didn't see him, but he paid for my meal. And I was like, that's absolutely amazing. But, you know, he had told me, you know, it was never honestly after your gig. It just happened. It was just a natural transition within that band. I had been there for so long, and I knew that we weren't going to record another new record together and stuff. So we move on, we prevail, you know, and keep it moving forward.
Oh, for sure. Okay, so after Crimson Glory, the way that I became aware of you as a singer, because I think at this point, I didn't even realize Crimson Glory had a new album out, but was the Seven Witches album.
Right.
Tell me about that album. Like, just to give you my story from it, I think I heard that on Hard Radio, if I'm not mistaken. I heard it somewhere online, heard Metal Tyrant. And I remember my hairs on the back of my neck standing up on end hearing that song. You know, like, it's funny because I think the song before it was Painkiller. And this was almost like Painkiller 2002. Like, I remember just hearing that and going, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
We're reinventing the steel, for crying out loud. You know, I guess I kind of got bored about where Crimson Glory was going. You know, I understand the mystique. I understand all about that. But I think just at that particular time, I was just in overdrive mode. I just wanted to go. And they didn't want to. I ended up quitting the band. John said I didn't have to. I really felt in my heart that it was the right decision to make. After that, of course, all the press release and everything else and this and that, and another singer, you know, and just the repertoire with that band is kind of, it's sweet and sour with that, you know, such a beautiful animal, but so dangerous, you know, on the other side.
So how do you get hooked up with Jack Frost?
I ended up talking with Jack. I had heard he was looking for a singer, and I had talked with him, and I talked with him a couple times, 2 or 3 times. And, you know, it just seemed to gel. He was looking for a singer. I just fresh out the press release and this and that. I started talking with him. He started sending me some songs. The rest was, you know, it went really smooth. I wrote the songs here in Florida. I ended up flying up to New Jersey to the studio up there, cutting tracks. Joey Vera from Armored Saint.
Oh, that's right. He produced that. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, Joey was on the tour, the whole Annihilator tour with me and stuff. So, but yeah, it was funny, man, because I didn't know. I mean, I had wrote some songs. I had sent him some songs that I was singing on, but I mean, it was kind of vague. of what was going on. I kind of wrote up there a little bit nervous, kind of like not knowing what's going on. But as soon as we got in the studio and stuff, it was super smooth, and we came up with Exiled to Infinity.
Oh, that's fantastic. Did you guys plan to do another record together, or was it kind of one and done?
I really wanted to do another record with them, but it just came to a situation that I really felt that, yeah, I had to move forward, with my career and stuff. So I knew they were talking with a couple other singers and stuff. So I knew that they would be taken care of. But yeah, just that one, and then out.
So after that, you went into Leash Law, and that had Richard Christie on drums. Tell me about how this whole band came together and getting to work with him. I'm guessing he's got to be an absolute riot just as far as hanging around with, eh?
He is, man. He is a riot. Knowing his background and stuff, when I first met him, I was just like, oh my God, this guy is just outrageous. I looked at his drum set. It was so funny because it's like this old drum set. It's like all rusty. And I'm like, what in the hell is this? And he comes out and he offers me a Miller Lite. He's like, hey, Wade. He's like, come and drink a Miller Lite. I got a 24-pack in the refrigerator. And I'm just like, oh my God. I mean, if you've ever heard him on Howard Stern. But what an amazing thing. Rick Renstrom was a super fan of Crimson Glory. So I had met him, God, it's got to be 15, 17 years ago. We just started gelling. We just started writing songs together. And we did the Leash Law record, which was released by Black Lotus. We got a good piece of money and stuff for it. We recorded it. They released it. I think they actually signed Crimson Glory as well. And actually somehow came up bankrupt. So that was kind of the end of that whole thing. We had a huge expectance of the record, but then when we found out that it wasn't released, all the people sent it back because they went bankrupt and nobody got paid.
Oh, geez.
So it was funny. That's how that ended up happening. I was with Rick for a long time. We did the War of Thrones is my other band that we play in. He's actually kind of bowed out and kind of retired a little bit and stuff. So, but my writing partner, me, Rich Marks, are still doing War of Thrones. We're recording our second record, our sophomore effort. So,
oh, fantastic. So I would like to touch on that in a sec too, because I do have questions about it. Do you mind if we touch on the Leatherwolf thing?
No, absolutely, man. Go ahead. We probably have about 20 more minutes left. I don't mean to.
Awesome. No, that's no worries. So how do you get joined up with these guys? The connection of that band's always been really interesting for me because I'm a big fan of Eric Halpern's other band, Z-Lot Z, and I'm a big Riot fan. So it was funny? Hilarious to see the three of you on that album. Was just, okay, I need to check this out, I remember when that came out.
I love Eric to death, man, everything he does. Matter of fact, he just sent me a demo of his new band. But it was funny because I just moved up to Orlando to work with Richard and work with Rick. And I had gotten a phone call that asked me if I wanted to audition for Leatherwolf. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So I spent $100. I went to the studio. I recorded a song. I sent it to him. I think they had numerous singers. I think they had Joey Belladonna. I think they actually had, oh my God, Tony Harnell.
Wow.
Was auditioning for that band. Jeff Martin from Racer X was auditioning for that band, and I actually got it. And it's so funny because I'm flying out to LA and I'm freaking out. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Right? And I fly out and I meet the manager and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And I start hearing these songs and we start recording these songs. And I'm like, holy shit. I mean, you've heard that record before. It's fucking incredible. I mean, it's just not because I sing on it, but that record is fucking badass from fucking start to finish. No shit.
I can't think of the opening track now. I'm completely drawing a blank on the name, but I remember.
God, was that I Am the Law?
Yes. Yeah. That.
I keep it Uzi on my front seat. The competition buried 6 feet deep. Ah! Yeah, it's brutal, bro. It's brutal. That whole record, it was meant to be. Stars were aligned. Everything was great. Jeff Gayer and me wrote that entire record and recorded it and made it what it was. Powers would be within that band and stuff. Once again, sweet and sour brother. It was just time for me to bow out. I just couldn't stand it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it went in, album went great, and then after that it's just not working anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. But then people, it's funny, they call me the lone wolf and this and that, and he's not going to stay in another band and this and that, and da da da. But 20 years later, I'm still here, man.
Yeah, very true. Tell me about this band. I don't know if the band's still together, but I really dug was Clockwork Revolution.
Isn't that funny? That was such a fluke thing, man. Dirk had called me. He played with Alias, and he asked me if I wanted to come and record a record. He had some money and this and that, and I was like, let me come down and listen to some stuff. And we drove 3 hours to go and see him. I show up. These guys have absolutely nothing together. No lyrics, no placements, no anything. They play me a bunch of music and said, well, there's our ideas. And I'm like, holy shit, you guys have nothing. So I grabbed a pad, I grabbed a pen, and I wrote. The guitar player Dwayne produced the stuff and pieced it together and stuff. But that's what we end up coming up with. I think that a lot of that stuff within the record and stuff was really honest, though. It really, really kind of put the feeling through what I was singing to.
Yeah, it was really, really excellent record too. That I don't know if it flew under the radar. I remember listening to it, checking it out, liking it, and other plans for that to be another one, or is that kind of it?
That's kind of like a one and done thing, man. We kind of signed a distribution deal with that company and stuff that end up not working out so well. But once again, sweet and sour.
Yeah, for sure. So War of Thrones, is that kind of your main gig and main band?
Absolutely. This is a spin-off of all my solo bands and stuff that I've been in and stuff. Now, it's been War of Thrones for quite a while now. And we do have a release called Conflict and Creation that is out and had a soft release, not a major one. But we're working on the sophomore effort, which actually has Patrick Johansson from Yngwie Malmsteen playing drums, and actually has Bill Hudson from Udo, Doro, TSO, and stuff that are going to come and help guest on guitars. It's a phenomenal record. It'll blow you away.
It's hilarious mentioning Bill. I think in 1 year, a few years ago, I saw him 3 times in a year. I saw him with Udo.
It's 3 different.
Exactly. Udo, TSO, and I forget one of the other ones you mentioned. But yeah, I was thinking about that. I think he played with someone at Prague Power that year, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember now.
Bill's a juggernaut, man. You're only as good as your next record, brother. You're only as good as your next show, man. So
yeah, it's hilarious. I'm looking through, talking about that Tampa connection. I'm looking through War of Thrones right now, just looking at the bands, and the drummer Jason was in Dreams Fate, and I'm like, oh my god, there's a band I haven't heard since like the MP3.com days back 20 years ago.
We try to forget that.
Oh, that's hilarious. Let's talk the new record, Chalice of Sin. So tell me how this came to be. It's funny, I also just talked to Alessandro not that long ago, and he mentioned this. I don't think he said the name of the band. I don't even know if there was a name at that point, but he did say he was working with you. So that kind of got in my mind. All right, I should really talk to Wade because I would love to hear these stories. So
isn't that funny? Hats off to Alec Jansen for that. The studio drummer for Hardline. It was funny because I was actually demoing some songs, and I had sent some stuff to Serafino from Frontiers, and he absolutely loved the record. He loved what we were doing. He loved the demo. He loved everything else. The next thing I know, he gets me in touch with Alessandro and talked with him, what a huge Crimson Glory fan he was and this and that, and I was just like, that's so super cool. We got along great. The music was great. And, we ended up making a great record. And what a talent that Alessandro is, what an incredible label that Frontier is, what an incredible band that we end up putting together was absolutely incredible. Martin Anderson, Jepsen from Denmark. He plays in a band called Meridian. Marco De Maio from the Flower Kings is who he plays with.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw him years ago. just on a fluke. I didn't know. I'd never heard of them before. Went on a fluke. A friend of mine said, I have an extra ticket to Flower Kings. Do you want to go? And I go, I don't know what that is, but sure. And yeah,
Why
they're
not?
great.
Incredible talents and stuff, you know. And when you really listen to the record, I mean, you listen to the whole record. What do you think about it?
I absolutely loved it. And I mean, the thing that floored me was when I first heard like the first 3 or 4 tracks, I just threw it on and I'm listening to it as I'm like cleaning the house or whatever, and I'm enjoying it. And it wasn't until I went back and looked and went, wait a second, this was the Alessandro band.
Right.
Because it sounds nothing like I'm used to him doing.
Right.
You know, he kind of has his sound and it's fantastic. It doesn't sound like Chalice of Sin. And so when I saw him, like, wait a second, he's one of the main guys behind this. This doesn't sound like anything he writes. So I'm sure he had a field day with it.
Absolutely.
Stepping slightly outside of that, you know, uber melodic rock kind of sound that he has and into something this heavy.
Right. I don't think that I mean, Frontiers has some heavy bands. I don't know whether they've actually went Chalice of Sin heavy. But, you know.
I mean, they do have a few death metal and other things, but I'd say 95%, yeah, Chalice of Sin is definitely one of the hardest things that they have.
Right.
No doubt. Yeah, it's I really enjoy it. The opener is just, you know, an absolute banger. The one with the
this is the title track. I think that's Chalice of Sin that opens up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that one's great. I gotta get a track list. It's funny because for me, I just listen and it becomes that's number 5, that's number 6. I believe it's number 4.
Great Escape, Whiskey,
Miracle.
Ashes. Oh, Miracle. Oh, see, that's one of the last ones that we wrote. And what Alessandro had said, he goes, oh my God, he goes, if Accept were to hear this song, they would pay you thousands of dollars for it, you know. And that to me, it just tickles us because me and my writing partner Richard Marks, you know, we worked together for so long. And we wrote that entire record. They sent us music. We sent them back songs that we breathed life into. We gave, you know, these are like our babies. So this is what that record means to us, that we, you know, as an entirety band put this together and put that much love into it, you know. So I hope when people listen to it, you know, we've got 11 songs of different styles of music, you know. We don't want to portray ourselves in a certain genre of music and stuff. We're lovers of music, period.
Oh, for sure. And like you say, you know, it's something that you don't really expect out of Frontiers, but man, what just a great, you know, classic metal album. And I think they've been leaning a bit more in that direction lately. You know, they had James Durbin and some other stuff this year. And
sick. Everybody over at Frontier Records, Serafino and everybody, I'm telling you, these guys are true visionaries and stuff, man, and they see stuff happening, man, and they seize the moment.
So tell me about this band. Are there plans to take this on the road, the Chalice of Sin?
We have been talking with promoters and stuff. I've been talking back and forth with the label. As things start letting up, yes, we do want to get this band over there. And yes, this is in the talks, and yes, we will eventually pull something together and we will eventually tour.
Oh, that's fantastic. Will Alessandro be a part of that?
You know, I would really like to think so. Without him, I won't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, especially when you say he's so integral to it, right?
Right. I'll stay here at home. If I'm not going out with Al, I'm not going out.
That's fair enough.
So, but what is funny, and I'll let you in a little bit of new news. I am appearing in Belgium at the Alcatraz Open Air Festival and stuff. I will be singing with James Rivera, Mr. Vampiro himself, and Jack Frost with Seven Witches, with the reunion of James and Jack with the new Seven Witches record. I'll be singing Metal Tyrants at Alcatraz.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I don't think I'll be able to go, but if you can film that, I'd love to hear it. I would love to hear a live version of that song.
They'll have so much video of this stuff, man. I ended up posting it up the other day, and we have gotten so much love from everybody out there, with James, with Hellstar, and Jack with Seven Witches. I think he's actually in Aldo Nova.
Wow.
For crying out loud, if you can believe that. So once again, musical juggernauts, you know, we'll never quit. Just doing music and stuff just isn't a hobby. It's a lifestyle for us.
For sure. For sure. So besides the release of the new Chalice of Sin, you had mentioned a new War of Thrones. What else is kind of on the horizon from yourself? What can we look forward to coming up?
Well, I mean, Rich and I are actually on the new Vivaldi metal project and stuff that you guys can check out. War of Thrones is the main thing that we're going for right now. I think that Chalice of Sin will actually have a new single coming up here soon within the next couple of months and stuff. And we'll see how the new record does. We're always looking forward to starting on the new record here coming up the new year.
That's awesome. Do you think will we get another Chalice of Sin album? Have you talked about it? Yeah?
Absolutely. There'll definitely be a couple more that I've heard so far. So, the ball's rolling forward, my brother.
Oh, that's fantastic. Can't wait to hear it. All right, Wade. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out to do this. I'm sure you've probably got to run to your next interview right now. So
it's all good, brother. I really appreciate your time, man. And thank you guys so very much. I love each and every one of you, man. I do, with all my heart.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks. So best of luck with the new Chalice of Sin. Looking forward to the next one. And I'm going to keep an eye out for the next War of Thrones as well. So congrats on the new album. It's fantastic.
Thank you so very much, Brandon. You have a nice day, brother.
And yourself as well. Have a good one. Bye.